Hey guys, it's Brayden, Brayden's Fish Tank channel here. I wanted to do a video, basically just to talk to people. It's more geared towards beginners, but anybody can watch my videos, of course. But basically I wanted to talk about a couple easy beginner plants that you can grow. And I'm just going to talk a little bit about the requirements, just for those people that, aren't that familiar with the Planet Aquarium. They don't really know what they're doing that much, or don't have that great of an idea. They might know the basics, but they're not too familiar with specific plant species that they could put in their tanks. So first I wanted to talk about wisteria, which this is wisteria or water wisteria. It's got this cool looking leaves. I have some more of it right here. That's the same plant, as well as that stuff back there. And this stuff coming up. I also have some smaller ones of it all in the front. So wisteria is a great plant because basically of its structure, which I'm going to show you. This plant has very extensive roots. You can see, it's a little hard to see all the roots in there, but basically they grow a ton of roots. You can see all those roots coming down, all these roots. Just to give you a little glance at that. So they're really easy to grow because they have a lot of roots and they develop a lot of roots. Also, the fact that they will, they have, they don't have that high requirements in terms of light. Like, I wouldn't keep them in low light, but you don't really need to highlight it. Like, medium light's fine. A lot of people will stress over a light video. I'll probably make a lighting video soon because, there's a lot of misconception in terms of light. Visit fishtanktv.com and there's this good article on light because everybody's stuck on watts per gallon, but it really doesn't. Watts per gallon is pretty not irrelevant to lighting. Like, you think like that's the one basic rule, but it's really not. Like, you can get away with more or less lighting. So yeah. Anyways, though, back to the plants. So that's wisteria. Really easy to grow, grows nice roots, pretty easy to grow. You don't really, pretty hardy plant. You don't really need like perfect conditions. pH can be, varies, like maybe 6 to 8. Like, it's not really big. You could keep it in a good amount of conditions without really any problems. Next one I'm going to talk about would be anubias, which is right there. My anubias in here doesn't look that good because it's not that fully developed. As you can see, I have 2 new leaves coming out right there. I'll show you my other anubias plants in this tank. My other 2 anubias plant. This is an anubias plant with a couple of good leaves. This is anubias barderi, and then this is also anubias, which this one's on driftwood. So anubias is good because it doesn't need any, well, take that back, it doesn't need much light. Of course, you still want to give it light, but it doesn't really need that much to grow. It's a low light plant. And also, it's pretty hardy. Like, you don't need, I've heard that it's, that you want to acclimate it when you put it in because of temperature change. It's like susceptible to like, it doesn't like the quick change in temperature, so you're supposed to acclimate it. I don't know if this is true. I never did it and they turned out fine, but you might want to try it when you do it. But yeah, so that anubias is just a good plant because it's a slow grower. It's very slow. It's probably your slowest aquarium plant out there, but it's really but that doesn't make it a bad plant. Like, everybody likes these fast-growing plants like, Rotella indica, Disloidea, Palustris, and Repens, and Anacharis, and all this other stuff in here that'll grow pretty relatively fast. But then you have your anubias, and they don't grow very fast. They'll they'll give you maybe a leaf every month, maybe 2 leaves if you give it right conditions. You could maybe get more than that out of the plant once you like fertilize it and stuff. But you really don't need to use fertilizers. If you weren't doing a dirt tank, I'd probably use a liquid fertilizer. Because one quick tip as far as anubias go is you don't want to bury. They actually have a rhizome, which is this big, long, basically looks like a stick, and that's where all the leaves will come out of, and then they have roots coming out below that, and those will go into the substrate, or also these guys attach onto driftwood. They do great attached to driftwood. So they don't need a lot of nutrients. You don't want to bury the rhizome though. If you are putting them in the substrate, see how my rhizome is above the substrate? That's good, because if you don't put it like that, then you have a chance of rotting the rhizome if you bury it, and then your plant will die. So yeah, you want to keep it like that. You have the rhizome above, but keep some or most of the roots planted. Yeah, so that's anubias. Now I'm going to talk about Java fern. Now, I'm going to stay at this tank because I don't have any or much of Java fern in the 5-gallon tank. But as you can see, this is Samson would get out of the way. This is Java fern, right on top of the anubias. It's a little tough to see, but that's what it looks like. It's a nice green tone to it. Slow growing plant. I have some up there, but really nice plant. Try and let you see it a little better. Put some light on. I don't know if that helped a little, but so yeah, it's Java fern. This plant also attaches onto driftwood. It's one of the those other easy growers that'll just attach onto driftwood. You have to give it some time, but then it'll grow, and it doesn't need a lot of light, doesn't really need any nutrients. It's probably your hardiest aquarium plant out there in terms of like, hey, I just set up a new tank, I don't know any plants to get. It doesn't have like any special lighting or anything. You could probably grow Java fern with incandescent light, which you can grow like no plants with, just because it needs like not a lot of light, or else you'll get algae on the leaves. Or if you're giving it too much light, I've heard that the leaves will go transparent, and I've had transparent leaves in some of my tanks, so I figured that just might be because the plant has too much light. So I'm going to show you another plant in here, and then go to the 14 to show you some clips of the Java fern. Here's also Java fern down here. I just have it in the substrate. Java fern also has a rhizome. It's obviously less bigger than that. It's just a small little, just a tiny little rhizome where the leaves will come off. But again, you don't want to plant that. You can't really see it, but it is above the substrate. It's about right there. So you don't want to bury that into the substrate either, because again, you'll kill your plant. I have a couple small Java ferns back here in the tank. There's one. I'll turn off this light so you can see it a little better. Oh, now you can't even see it at all. Alright, and I have some other Java ferns back there, and that guy right on the filter. Sorry about the glare. So yeah, that's a good plant to have. Java fern's really easy to grow. You don't need a lot for that plant. Another one that I've found is really good is banana plants. Now, this isn't really a good looking banana plant. I've ordered 2 banana plants from aquariumplants.com. They actually sent me 3, so that's good. But I actually have to get in here and trim off all these leaves, because when you see like the little brown spot, and then on that leaf, plus there's a whole new leaf stem coming up right there, and then this leaf's screwed too. And I need to put these in higher light, because as you can see, they're being shaded by the anubias leaf. You don't really want plants shading each other unless they're like highlight plants shading low light plants, or low light plants shading low light plants. If you know what I mean, you don't want like low light plants shading highlight plants. or moderate light plants or whatever. You want to have your moderate or highlight plants out in the open that are getting enough light, basically, because if they're like under a anubias leaf like this, they might not be getting enough light. So I need to move those guys up in front right here. So these little banana plants are also these guys. So those are new. I haven't had them for a very long time. But then they turn out into these plants. These are actually also banana plants. These ones with these humongo leaves. Usually they're not upright. They usually are somewhat flat. But as you can see, the tank's a little murky at the top at the moment. But the banana plant leaves are really cool. I actually have, it looks really nice from above. You can just see that. It looks really cool. I don't know what's happening over here. If you do recall, I had a leaf that came out from the banana plant and came over here. I don't know what's up with the tank at the moment. It's fine. I just like see all this frog bit and then the banana plant died. I don't know what's up with that. And then like the film over the water. We'll have to screw with it a little bit. But yeah, so those are some good beginner plants. Some other ones. This is also Java ferns. This is just a better view. I'll actually just show you this Java fern instead of Java fern the 14. This is Java fern. That's the same as that plant on the driftwood. Not anubias, but Java fern. This is just huge Java fern. It can really be developed in varieties and look good. Another plant would be dwarf sage, which is right here. It's a good foreground plant for like carpet. This stuff's a little tall. I haven't clipped it back because I just got it in pretty recently. But it'll propagate from sending out these little runners through their roots in the soil or substrate or whatever you have, and it'll like go underground and pop up a new one. Not a low light plant, but not a high light. Keep it in moderate light. I use dirt with my plants, organic potting soil. That's what I use, Miracle Grow Organic Choice potting mix. I'm going to probably do a whole video on dirt and why I use it and all that kind of stuff and talk about other people who do, like Dustin. But I wanted to just say that dwarf sage is a good carpeting plant. I'll probably get a little bit more into it in other videos, but I'd check it out. Doesn't need a ton of light, doesn't need a ton of nutrients. I keep it in dirt, so I don't really know how it works in regular substrate, just like plain gravel. It can probably be done, but if I did keep it in plain gravel, I'd use root tabs. One last plant would be right here, Italian Val, or just jungle Val in general. It's this kind of long grassy plant. Check out Dustin's Fish Tanks channel. He has a lot better jungle Val. Mine is pretty lame because I just got it in recently. I got a lot of these plants in recently, so they're not really fully developed yet. So what's happening, though, is this plant's going to melt. And you can see some of these roots are kind of, the bottoms are not doing that well, and they're kind of dying off. So what happens is they're going to melt, and they're going to die off, and you're going to think that your plant's dead, but then if you have a good substrate like mine with dirt and then eco-complete, it'll just come right back up and make a real healthy plant. So, that's the plant video. So anubias, Java fern, banana plants, dwarf sage, wisteria, jungle Val. Those are some good beginner plants. Rutella indica is a pretty sweet, solid plant, but I wouldn't call it a beginner plant. I'd do it if you're doing a dirted tank. Like these tanks are dirted. This is a 5-gallon with a 10-watt full spectrum 6500K bulb, and it's like it's only like 7 inches, so it's probably in the highlight area. I don't really know. According to the fishtanktv.com lighting chart, it is. So yeah, all my plants are doing good, but I have wisteria in my 14-gallon with not that great light and also not amazing. And just plain soil, and it does really well. So wisteria is good, Java fern solid. Again, dwarf sage, I don't know. Dwarf sage is a good plant, but I don't know if I'd just keep it with plain gravel. Wisteria is good. jungle val can be kept with plain gravel. It's not going to grow great, but, you know, it won't grow extremely bad. Anubias is pretty good. You could keep it with ryo gravel or just attach it to driftwood, as well as java fern. So I hope you guys liked the video. Please comment, rate, subscribe on what you think, and any other video requests are welcome, you know. Tell me what you want, and I'll try and make a video about it. So my next video will probably be about dirt and why I use it, what type of dirt I use, how I maybe eventually do a video on how I dirt my aquariums. Not really, maybe not giving you the actual dirt process unless I'm actually setting up a dirt tank, but kind of telling you how I do it. So, yeah, Braden's Fish Tank channel here. Please comment, rate, subscribe, like the video. Give me any comment suggestions, whatever you want. So, yeah, thanks for watching my video. I'll talk to you guys later. Alright, see ya.